Thank you all for being here. Let me ask you this here. We've got a stat that by 2018, so that's, first of all, 2018 is just 5 years from now, if you can believe that. Close to 60% of all jobs in Missouri will require some form of post-secondary education. Do you buy that? And what happens if those workers aren't here to fill those jobs? Does that sound like a reasonable prediction to you guys?
It certainly does to me. What we've already seen in our economy is that even in the recession, we have seen job growth. 4 million new jobs have been added. Most of those jobs have been for folks with a college degree. So it's not about even what's happening in the future, but it's about what's happening right now in terms of young people getting some sort of credentialing after high school. Now, it may not manifest as going to Harvard or WashU or even SLU, but certainly vocational technical training, 2-year institutions, even certification programs. But every young person needs some sort of credentialing beyond high school to be economically viable in this economy.
And more on the access that we started to talk about just a minute ago. What do you see as the thing we should tackle first when it comes to access for more people?
I think awareness. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why I think partnerships with organizations like College Summit are so important, is because we have to build that awareness of that potential bridge from high school into college, and so that we can give our students sort of that vision of what comes next. I think that's really important, that awareness, and then helping them understand, okay, when you get to college, these are some of the other avenues that you need to make sure that you're aware of. That whole process, coming from a background where I'm first generation, I mean, that it was essential that I had adults that were helping to kind of shepherd me through. Because at first, when I was in high school, I didn't really think about college that much because that wasn't my family's background. So it's really important. I mean, I wish I had, you know, somebody like a College Summit or someone like Stacy that I could have gone to when I was a kid. That would have been really important.
I think we need to work smarter also. At the high school level, what we've seen is that we stopped and retooled at Gateway. What we saw was that we were helping certain students, the kids that could network, you know, even if they were first generation, they knew, oh, I'll go see, you know, this teacher, I'll go see this counselor, I'll have this person. Certain students were being overserved. Other students were not being served at all. At Gateway STEM, what we've started just last year was to really look at it in a systematic fashion, using data. Education now is so much data rich. And the reason for that is that lets us make sure we are getting to every student. So when we meet every 2 weeks with our counselors, and then every second time, we meet with our service providers. We have College Bound, we have College Summit, we have TRIO, we have all sorts of people that come to the table. And what we need to do is make sure we're working together and working smart so that there's not 5 people helping one student and nobody helping another. And really looking at all those factors. What are factors for students? I have a school with a high English language learner population. What are the road bumps that a student faces if English is not their native language? If there is issues with, are they citizens of the United States? There are certain states that are more willing to educate and processes that are easier. What we've seen is that we've had to retool and relearn our positions and work in a whole different fashion. But what we're seeing already is it's paying off. And that's something at Gateway STEM we're trying to spread around. We've talked to Normandy, Jennings, and anybody, because we know that this is so crucial.
You talk about English as a second language. What other barriers are there to access that you see?
Well, definitely poverty. I mean, I think one of the reasons that poverty impacts is because when you talk about, especially multi-generational poverty, you don't have that tradition of going to college and really thinking about the kind of the next steps. It's much more of, you know, how can I get to the next level of subsistence as opposed to really growing and thriving. It's just the mindset. You have to change that mindset. I mean, there's a lot of research around that, you know, not only in terms of children being able to really feel a sense of agency when they come from an impoverished background, but also their parents feeling a sense of agency as well. So we have to not only help children to develop that college-going mindset, but we also have to help their parents understand how to be advocates for the child to get to college.
And it's really about understanding the college process. The college application process is unlike any other. I can't think of any other process where you apply for something 9 months before you actually manifest going there. And so there's a lot of moving pieces. The FAFSA is just one that is a tremendous barrier.
The financial aid aspect.
Yes, free application for federal student aid. It is the gateway to all aid, be that federal government, state, or institutional aid, especially that which is need-based. And for the populations that we work with, they demonstrate the need, and certainly those resources are necessary for them to successfully matriculate in and complete college.
And teaching the families, we've all spoken to that, and not just the student. I'll give you an example. There are for-profit colleges out there, and they are wonderful at marketing. And many of our families will be like, wow, we saw this is a great opportunity. And it's our job, and we work to make sure that people are making good choices. People can get swept into decisions, and it's our job to not only deal with the FAFSA, the financial aid, and what happens when they get to school, but are they getting to the right school? If you can go to one school that'll cost $40,000 for 2 years, or you can go to a school that's gonna cost you $8,000, we need to guide our families, and we need to do that. And I think in the old days, schools, you wanted, as a high school principal, you want your kids to graduate. Not anymore. It's not just graduate. You've got to make sure that they go on to good things and where they are going to be taken care of. Schools that have good rates of graduation, where they know that the financial aid is going to be as positive as possible. We don't want to leave our students in debt. So we need to make sure we're taking care of kind of the whole plate, where in the old days they didn't need to.